Hello, my name is Mari, and I'm 19 years old, which means that this is my last summer as a teenager, and honestly, I'm panicking a little bit.
The time that turns the world around. 'Cause you know where I'll be found when I come around.
I think it's so interesting how a simple feature of the English language, just how we call numbers what we call them, has influenced how we think about growing up and coming of age and becoming yourself, becoming an adult, or at least it has for me. Like, I remember when I was 13, the morning of my 13th birthday, I was texting one of my friends and I was saying how I'd built up turning into a teenager into this great big thing in my mind. I would finally become the person that I want to be. I would finally be mature and funny and have, well, I don't know, whatever, you know? And, the clock struck 12 on my 13th birthday and nothing had changed. And I felt the same as I did an hour ago. And this friend said, well, duh, we're no longer friends. It might seem very obvious that nothing special is going to happen to me at the turn of another decade when I turn 20, but I still instinctively find myself very alarmed by the fact that I'm soon no longer going to be a teenager. And I think part of it has to do with the fact that I've built a habit of living for the future instead of the present. Like, when I was 10 years old, I remember getting a diary for the first time, and I found this exact same thing happening where I was writing just to look back on it in the future and not using it as an exercise in mindfulness or staying in the present or what most people, I suppose, use their diaries for. I was performing my life for an audience of one, myself, my future self. And honestly, I think my future self is a little bit more impressed by me having an exciting life at 19 than at 20. So we're going to go with it. But I feel like me saying all this is building it up to be something that's a lot more dramatic than it is. I honestly am not a very exciting person. My idea of a rootin' tootin' hollerin' good time is listening to Weezer and going bird watching. But I feel like in this age where being off my phone at all feels like an act of rebellion and something very productive. I don't know. I feel like I prefer this to being in my room with the lights off. And I know that dopamine detoxing or whatever you call it is not a new concept, but I feel like the idea that being on your phones has sucked all joy out of life and no longer makes the analog world exciting, I think that's a little bit reductive, and I don't think it's really representative of what most people feel about being on their phones for most of their lives. Like, most of the people that I know, they don't want to have as high of a screen time as they do. They want to be outside, they have unfinished bucket lists that they never get around to starting. And so I think rather than phones having sucked all the enjoyment out of the analog world, I think all the enjoyment in doom scrolling has already been wrung dry to such an extreme that everyone's craving something to happen. And I think it makes all these moments where you're doing something outside with intention, with people, all the more magical and meaningful, and whatever other inspiring adjective I could insert here. But all that being said, if I spend the whole summer sitting here monologuing by a creek getting bitten by mosquitoes, I think it's a life I would be proud to brag to my future self about. With that being said, join me next time as I run away from home. Usually there are ducks here, but I haven't seen any today. Maybe they're not back from... No, we definitely have ducks still. Like, I don't know why they're not at the creek today. I used to really like by this creek that there were always these, like, I don't know, you'd call them like teepees kind of, that people would make out of like fallen branches, but I did see a homeless person sleeping here while I was trying to find a spot to film, and so now I'm thinking maybe those are just like little encampments, which honestly, if I was homeless, this definitely beats sleeping under, a bridge by the side of a highway. So yeah, but once in a while I find that like all of these buildings have been like, someone clearly has pushed them over, and so that makes me sad now that people are just destroying these places where these people sleep. Now, who lives here? Hello. Oh, I see some poop in there. Beautiful. The nail. I can also spin the camera around. Ooh. Can I make it across? I think Nah, these rocks get really slippery when it's wet. But like, frickin' carpe diem or whatever, I don't really know. I don't know about this one, guys. Like, that seems too slippery, and then it's too big of a gap to get to nowhere. So I think I'm just gonna have to leave it here. Ah, okay, whatever. Fine, I'll go back. Hello, Cardinal. Sing us a song. I want a party. I want a samba. I want a party and live my life I wanna, dude. Wow, he's so close you can almost see the red color. Oh my god, I finally found him. Hello, ducky. Hey, I think that's a Baltimore Oriole. And of course you can't see it on the frickin' 2-pixel screen. Let's see if I can get closer. Cutie. 2 duckies. 2 male duckies? Not in my creek. 'Cause you know where I'll be found. Subscribe.